Great to be here. That's extraordinary. Come on, Sara. Come on, Trajce. Yes, this is important. Now you have me interested.
Hello and welcome to the Why Work podcast series. You are listening to Trajce Vitkovsky, Sara Bazell and Alan Girl. We can start with all sorts of stuff.
Do you want to start unpacking? What was the one you wanted, the stunt man? You want to start unpacking that? That's fine.
Yeah.
All right, Trajce, I want to take you back to your rock and roll days. Or that's probably not the right expression.
It's not the right nomenclature. Techno, electronic.
Techno.
Let me take you back to your techno days.
Yes.
And remember what it was like.
Oh, yeah, that's
And we
struggle.
had an incident in Brisbane, didn't we? With a music band.
Did we?
We're going to the shotgun case?
Oh, yes, we are going to the shotgun case. Yes, we had a serious incident, but the incident, you're right, it involved a film clip for an excellent hip-hop band, one of my favourite hip-hop bands, Bliss and S02 from Sydney. Huge band, and they were shooting a film clip. Now,
right in the centre of town,
right in the centre of town,
cool.
At a bar, and that case is really right on the money. In fact, that case, Sara, involves stuntmen.
Sweet.
Don't you know someone who's a stuntman?
I know someone who's a stunt person in the Gold Coast. Did you like that language?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I like it.
And trains other stunt people. And that was that's the one I said, what do you do on the weekend? Oh, I'm just doing a burn. I go, what? You're doing what? I'm just doing a burn. Like, doesn't everybody? Yeah. Of course you are. And that's where he's training people to put this gel-like lather all over the body from head to toe and light themselves on fire.
Yeah, look, it's a thing.
That's what I do on my weekends.
Yeah. Have you ever done it?
No, but I'm up for it. I did go down to the training facility, and I got put on cables and hooks, and the one guy just manually pulled on the other side, and I got to fly like Tinkerbell in the warehouse. It was so damn fun.
Well, if you had an expressed intention to be on Beauty and the Geek, one of the best dating reality shows, you would have enjoyed that type of date night because they...
Am I the geek or the beauty? That's what I want to know.
Well,
Hang on a minute.
It's a matter for our listeners, but my point is simply this. You can be both.
Okay.
Why not be both?
Smart beauty. There we go. I'll take that for the moment.
To be an equal opportunity. But no, in that particular episode, that's what they did. They were flying around like butterflies and also catching on fire and jumping out of trains. And that was date night.
Yeah.
So
well, this group has always marketed and advertised to do corporate, teen development kinds of things.
Oh, yes. No.
Trajce, do you want to be set on fire? Can we count you in on this?
Wait, no. The first part is lathering your body from head to toe in gel.
Well, if it means being lathered in gel, yeah, why not? I'll set myself on fire.
Gel. I had a girlfriend that wanted to have a birthday party once with jelly wrestling. She wanted the girls to jelly wrestle at her party. I'm like, seriously?
Yeah.
I thought that went out in the 70s.
I don't know if she's bringing it back, the revival, but she's a hardcore, like, super muscly. And we're like, nobody wants to get into that jello bath with you, mate.
Well, you'd have to do a risk assessment.
Slips,
trips, and falls.
What are the hazards?
Well, you've got various health and safety hazards there as well.
Back to the stunts.
So, looking back to the stunts, this case involved a stunt person. Indeed, the person in this matter, the victim, as he sustained fatal injuries as a result of the shooting at of the video clip. He was a stuntman, also a Ninja Warrior finalist in the first season. He came fifth.
Like your son.
A serious athlete, a very experienced stunt person by the name of Johan Offner, and unfortunately, this day on the set ended in absolute tragedy. The coroner's inquest, an examination of, first of all, what occurred, and secondly, what risk assessments could have been implemented, and thirdly, whether or not anyone should have been charged with some type of manslaughter provision, because back then the industrial manslaughter amendment hadn't made its way into the Act, or any type of reckless prosecution against any of the people at this workplace. And the workplace was a nightclub venue for the shooting of a film clip. And unfortunately, this stunt person died.
Now, this is interesting because the friends that I'm speaking about in the Gold Coast, I'll just give them a plug, live action training. Those colleagues once spoke to me about risk assessments. Now, they're known in the industry for doing incredibly good risk assessments and high caliber quality, high profile types of stunts and managing them well. And we spoke about risk assessments, and I was going to share with them a lot of information, a lot of methods that occur in heavy industry and mining, some of the best from the Earth Moving Equipment Safety Roundtable, some of their approaches to look at consequences that are not just risk. Forget the probabilities, the stuff where you can die instead that we've talked about. And unfortunately, they were saying, the movie industry at that time of the conversation years ago just didn't have the appetite to be able to really bring this into their work. And yet we've talked about the Baldwin case. Now you're telling me about this case. So
and this case squarely falls into human factors. So the company,
I like it already. Go on.
You're going to really like this. Notwithstanding the learning
the outcome
has come from
with
a tragic consequence.
A tragic consequence.
This is right squarely human factors. So not only did the production company do the right thing and organise a very, and I emphasise very experienced armourer who brought onto the set a suite of Uzis and machine guns and pistols and you name it, but unfortunately this armourer also brought a sawn-off shotgun, which pursuant to the weapons legislation regulation was not authorised to be packed in a blank capacity. So in other words, you're not to use this weapon at all. It is not a prescribed weapon to be used. Sadly, that was the weapon of choice for the creative persons.
But wasn't the venue quite confined as well?
It wasn't about the venue. So that's a great point you raised.
But wasn't it the problem with shooting blanks is if you're too close, there's still the impact from the stuffing of the blank.
Indeed, and there may have been, but unfortunately, irrespective of the size of the building, irrespective of the angle, irrespective of whatever, you were not to use that sawn-off shotgun. And I dictate that. So it's irrelevant. The other factors, what was a proper contraband, you are not to bring this weapon at all. And that's the root cause of this very tragic outcome.
Oh, no, I always debate root causes and ask you to think about system factors, but
this is simply do not pass go. In other words, don't bring this gun.
I get that.
This is do not bring this gun to the set, full stop. So before we unpack issues such as angle, size, were there better methods, better techniques, that was part of the criticism because there was no risk assessment. But even before we get to all that stuff, do not bring this thing. And an armourer knew or ought to have known.
And when you talk about shooting blanks, you make me think straight away. I get this picture of Bruce Lee and then his son. Like, how horrific was that? How the son died on set as well, right?
So this stuff occurs.
Ghosts after ghosts occurring. So tell us about this.
So what's happened is Mr. Offner, he was struck in the chest at close range. Mr. Offner was to wear a jerk vest attached to a jerk rope, which by pulling him back simulated impact from the shotgun. But unfortunately, as you said before, the way in which the blank was packed and the stuffing caused some of that material to penetrate Mr. Offner, and he died of laceration to the heart. The reason why the coroner descended into issues around manslaughter, recklessness, was because of that overt illegal act of utilising that particular device, that particular item of plant, for want of a better term, that gun. And the reason why nobody was prosecuted in that case was because the armourer died of natural causes. He had a very acute illness, and so
I didn't know that part of the story.
Yes, it was a cancer-related illness. So whilst Work Health and Safety did investigate, and whilst an investigation report disclosed various things, the coroner was particularly to stress that there was one individual here, one human culpable in this incident, and that was the armourer. And if you think about that, not just an armourer, someone straight out of armourer school, someone who'd been doing this a long time, working on various sets, brought with him as an armourer a cache of weapons, but this weapon suited the creative, I suppose, the artistic direction version of the film clip.
Yeah.
And it was an accident waiting to happen.
And I'm still cautious when you blame a person versus looking more expansively at the system, because you've just described, hang on, there was a creative pull, right?
Yeah.
Because you've described then maybe what was the culture and the expectation to do whatever it takes to make sure innovation occurred, to make sure the milieu, the feeling, the appetite for creativity was fostered. Keep going through. Look at what other system checks existed. Like you said, there were no risk assessments. Who was responsible for that? Who should have overseen the work of that armor? Because that person doesn't work in isolation. Where does that director and officer responsibility sit? Right. So I just still go. There's not a single person or one root cause that I can't help but start looking at this web and all these interacting factors.
Yeah, web of responsibility, as I've said before.
Web of responsibility, baby.
But, no, and you get to that, and that was one of the, this was such an excellent decision. Again, when I say excellent, such an educative, tragically an educative tool for us all to utilise, as any of us, lawyers and non-lawyers, practitioners and members of the public, particularly entertainment industry. If you haven't read this, you better start reading it now. They did investigate the adequacy of the training and safety, had there have been a whuzo, but here's the thing.
Work health safety officer, just to explain that.
I love my acronyms, what can I say? Public service, public institutions. But no, I'm going to challenge you, Sarah.
Bring it.
No.
Bring it.
You know what you can do with your systems and your designs, etc. No, wait. All right, here's Alan.
You're the prosecutor now.
Where do you think the responsibility should lie in the web of responsibility?
Well, I'm going to go broad in this. I know the lawyer wants to blame one person, but...
Or persons, concurrent. You can have a tribe. I don't mind. Bring it on.
I would go back to saying, what was the system of work that permitted that weapon to be on stage, on set, versus just the individual? Was there a policy and practice already to evaluate every single piece of equipment? Was there a policy and procedure to understand what a weapon actually is and who was evaluating the weapon, the legal premises behind that weapon and that use? Was there a checklist provided? Did somebody actually tell that person, the armorer, no, don't bring that on, and he went, yeah, screw you, and I'm going to bring it anyway? Or what? I don't know more about this. So there has to be someone responsible, and multiple people responsible, and work systems in place to support good work. So I always go back to the positive. What was in place to support good work versus just who do you want to blame, right?
Well, see, in this particular case...
Pollyanna. I always look at the bright side.
Well, here's the thing. In this particular case, so notwithstanding that, look, there wasn't a whuzo, there wasn't a work health and safety officer.
So that didn't even exist?
It didn't. It was one of the findings that was made. But there's a lot of companies who want to be agile and devolved in the way that they operate. And if that's the case, they still need to have some sort of governance, safety governance is what I call it. So what was that system of governance, right? And so that doesn't have to sit with one person as the safety manager, but is there a committee? Are they well informed? Are they the right people to be able to evaluate this? Do they actually have the knowledge, skill, and capability? Are they outside hired contractors, consultants, whatever? What is that system of governance? And
I agree. You used the word creativity before, and creativity would have been very important in this case. But,
absolutely, and which is why this particular shotgun was used. It's a hip hop film clip. There's certain,
but
and that was cool. I'm sure
creativity doesn't have to be sacrificed for safety. You can have both.
Yes,
design for what you want is what we talk about.
You said before, external consultant. Well, how much more professional, Sarah and Alan, can you get than an experienced armourer?
He knows about the guns, but does he really know about legislation and safety practice?
No, he didn't know about Section 39.
Mistakes.
Look, he did know about Section 39 of the weapons regulation.
He did or did not? Sorry.
Well, no, unfortunately he didn't, because he had illegally brought this particular weapon onto the site.
Did he know he was contravening the law?
No.
Well, there you go.
Does the case tell you whether he knew or whether he was involved in the pointing of the shotgun at the deceased?
Yeah, who killed the deceased?
No, what he's done. There was another stunt person involved.
So this is the Alec Baldwin case.
Did the armourer actually see them line up and get ready to do it?
Well, yeah, he was there on set, so he was packing all the weapons and
that's
arranging
a pretty fundamental mistake too.
Yeah, unfortunately, in fact, but coroner had no hesitation in saying, had the circumstances been different, this matter easily would have amounted to a manslaughter prosecution.
Against the armourer.
I do believe that in this particular case, given the facts and circumstances, and notwithstanding your position about having a whole of system approach, for me, I really think that objective blameworthiness would lie with this person. It's easy to say
like
now,
a dog
this
with
person's
a bone,
passed.
mate.
Oh, this one's special. No, this one's really special.
Come on, Trajce, let's make it real. When you were performing, when you were up on the stage, what was the most dangerous thing that happened when you were on stage?
Prosecuting.
Firework.
No. When he was doing music.
Sorry, with the pre-prosecution role.
And tripping from all the sweat because the lights were so hot. No, seriously, with the fireworks and other scaffolding and rigging, and you'd
Didn't
wonder
that
if the
happen on
lights.
Michael Jackson case one time? I think he was filming a Coca-Cola advertisement. Pepsi. Did I say the wrong brand X? Oops. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, you weren't supposed to say Coca-Cola. It's supposed to be Pepsi, Sarah.
Yeah, see, that really stuck in my brain. All I just remember was like the fire or the light fixture or something dropping down. I have to look that up
his
again.
Head caught on fire.
Okay. Anyway, there you go.
But here's the thing.
That sort of thing just shouldn't happen.
No, it shouldn't happen. Now, Alan, here's the thing. Getting back to, let's call Alan the
Wasn't there a
Who's
Broadway stage production where they were doing Spider-Man and Spider-Man fell on the stage?
Yeah.
Or am I mixing stuff up to get that?
I don't know.
You could be. But it's a really interesting point you raise. So you've come in as the expert and you do the full consultative process, the full consultation. We have a sit down, we have a talk about how it's going to be done. In walks the expert, the armourer, very experienced.
And I want to know whoever sat him down or her down and said, hey, do you understand that these are your obligations when you're on my set?
Okay, and let's hypothetically say, yes, they did. Alan, the expert, he's brought out his cache of weapons.
Was it useful training? Was it meaningful training? Was it memorable training that it's going to sustain? How was that training delivered? Was it just a damn paperwork checklist? Is it in a policy and procedure that nobody really engages with and it's collecting dust and sitting on a shelf? You see where I'm going with this, right? How was that communication?
I'm trying to think about an analogy in other industries, but if you think about a powder monkey in a quarry...
Say that again?
A powder monkey, the person that does the explosives.
Yes.
So there's many, many different aspects to that.
Yes.
In setting it up and making it happen, making sure no one is actually hit by the blast, doing it at the right time so the sound's right.
Yep. Again, all the more reason. So you've got...
All the more reason?
You've got all the more reason to squarely blame it at this individual. And I'll tell you why. So my view is this: no amount of checklists, audits, discussions. This was something waiting to happen, in that the knowledge of that experienced armourer, the knowledge of the discharge of the weapons, it was unique and particular. It's not just doing a random audit.
Okay, so let me wind this back again.
Guns being discharged.
In work design, we talk about, and in product design, environmental design, you talk about there's some aspect of a discovery process before you begin to design for what you want. There's iterative trials that go back and forth. You prototype, you test things out, and then you start to realize this. You might model it, you simulate it, you realize it, you go back, you make revisions, you communicate, you celebrate. There's all these processes around the discipline of design. You're just describing a scenario that was just waiting to happen. Did they do scenario-based analysis? Did they create a digital twin environment and start to unpack that potential scenario? Did they role play it if they didn't have the, budget to do a digital twin environment like we talked about and simulate this? Did they have enough scenarios teased out by, hey, a human factors expert among the subject matter experts, and start to evaluate all of what could happen to really make sure people understood what they were walking into? The rap star, the people on the set. So that's what I'm saying. So that would have been part of the discovery and design process in an adequate system. Bingo, I got back to system. I always have to do that for you.
I'm going to rile you here, Sarah.
Go on, bring it.
It would
hair on the back of my neck.
It would not have mattered one jot, one iota. Even if they had done a, trial your subbies, trial your pistols, trial your
But it might have
Uzos.
changed this action, so it would have mattered.
If it had here's my point I'm making.
Minority Report, Tom Cruise, I'm going where he's looking at different potential realities. Had that occurred, this event might not have happened.
The simple fact is this, and it's this simple. Section 39(1)(a) of the Weapons Act Regulations of 2016, this item of plant, this gun, was illegal and it wasn't authorised. So if an armourer couldn't get it right...
I get that, but the knowledge about that brought to the whole team what we call building tacit awareness and tacit knowledge, shared knowledge needed to happen. That obviously didn't happen. So laws are designed, as I heard once from a lawyer who works on wills and divorces. He once said to me, laws are designed for law-abiding citizens, right? For people who know it and who are willing to abide by it. So are we talking about somebody who defied the law on purpose or simply didn't know?
Didn't know.
Okay, then if you didn't know, then go back to the work system of education and training and translate it in meaningful ways.
And here's the thing, this was so latent, this was so unanticipated. For example, if you had tried
wait,
all those
whoa,
guns,
I'm going to jump on that. When you just said it's unanticipated, but you said it was waiting to happen, that suggests to me that it should have been known.
Now, here's the thing.
As a potential, right? Okay, so you do know, my brother used to sing that song, Little Miss Can't Be Wrong to me, right?
Okay, okay, I'm going to really flip this one. I'm going to flip this one, Sarah.
Should have been a lawyer in a last life, next life. Here we go.
So you've got all the weapons laid out.
Yeah.
There's only one way to test whether or not these...
Discharge.
Discharge at... Let me finish my sentence. At...
Now, you were involved in this case?
No, I wasn't.
Oh, you weren't?
Unfortunately, I wasn't.
Discharge
I wish I'd got into this one.
But you didn't get to handle the gun?
No, it wasn't my patch. It wasn't my territory. This is a really good decision because you can get to see the pictures of the stuff.
Go on.
So, okay, the only way we're going to find out what happened, so whether or not this thing should be brought on set or not, is if you test it.
Yeah, that's
on. Test it on.
Waiting.
On someone.
No, you can... Come on.
Dummies.
You're going to have a crash dummy.
No, I'll tell you what, to send you the facts. No, it was such a slight penetration, a slight laceration. It was so tragic and unfortunate. That, to the point where they said, hang on, are you okay? Or there was no evidence of blood. And this was unfortunately...
On the person who died, you're saying?
Yeah, my reading is thing was contraband. Sawn-off shotgun should never been brought there. Even if you had have done dummy tests, on my reading, it's unlikely the systems designs would have helped here.
Ergo, we're going back to the work system.
It should never been brought. It should never been brought on. I'm going to be completely.
And if you test that out, then that would have been discussed and disclosed. If there were more experts, let me do a plug for your profession. I have always said that safety law lawyers would be a great design partner early in discovery and design, and had we brought in your expertise and you would have said, hang on, have you guys checked the legalities of these weapons? Bingo.
Right. Yeah.
There goes the question. I'm giving you more work.
I know.
You're already busy enough, but I'm bringing you more work here by saying, there's a rationale underpinning the use of your expertise before big shit happens. And a design strategist to unpack how the design, the discovery and design strategy should unfold. Aware of design process, the understanding of the discipline of design for that event.
We hope you enjoyed that episode of Why Work. You've been listening to Trajce, Sara and Alan. And if you'd like to know more about some of the things we've talked about today, please subscribe and we'd be more than happy to provide you with information, names of cases and other things that may interest you. Please be aware that none of the matters we've talked about today should be construed as legal advice or any other type of advice. We're just here to talk about all things related to work. See you next time.